Hello, my name is Ronique Bastine Robinson, and I would like to welcome you to our YouTube channel. Today, I am joined by Nadine DeBaja, a sports agent, and Courtney Altamus, a sports educator. I love that term. I am really excited to introduce NCAA regulations and NIL to our audience. Nadine, how are you?
Doing good. How are you, Rennie?
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. And Courtney, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, great. Thank you for joining me. You guys are phenomenal. For those of you who don't know, I just did a panel with these two ladies, and they have some amazing information that they have wanting to share with all of our audiences about how NIL affects us and how the NCAA regulations affect us. So I'm going to start with Nadine. Tell me about these NCAA regulations of the NIL space.
Sure. So these NCAA regulations are actually relatively recent in the space. For as long as student athletes have been playing college football and college basketball, and for as long as students have been athletes at high schools, NIL has been a thing, and that is name, image, and likeness. The governing body over things like name, image, and likeness in the college space, and now we're seeing in the high school space, is the National Collegiate Athletic Association. And the NCAA has, after some court decisions that have come out addressing NIL and student athletes' rights to profit from it, has come out with regulation itself that in July of 2021, where the NCAA officially said that college student athletes are able to profit from their name, image, and likeness being used. And so since then, it's kind of really expanded the pool of money that a student athlete can tap into while they're in college for what they're being paid for their name, image, and likeness being used. And so as a result of that, we've seen a lot of implications that arise out of the conversation between the family and the student athlete, the family and the school, as well as agents and brand partners. And there's definitely a world where all of those things collide, and everyone's kind of got a say in where that money goes, how it's spent, and what business is being done.
Awesome. So Courtney,
Yes.
my educator, what I love is how much information you have about how NIL came to be and what is happening with these athletes and what they need to do to protect themselves. So let's talk about that. How did name, image, and likeness impact what you began to do?
Do we have about 4 hours? So we started educating professional athletes and student athletes before name, image, and likeness came to be in the college space. And what it did broadly was create a situation in the college space where athletic departments, they, like Nadine said, have only ever been focusing on the sport, not name, image, and likeness. And so they've been managing the athletic department of the school. And the athletic director is obviously responsible to the chancellor or the president of the school. NCAA being the governing body, pretty straightforward. Now, all of a sudden, you have a situation where the NCAA says, okay, as a result of a lot of cases that have been decided and pressure from state law, we're going to allow student athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness. And originally, there was going to be a lot of rules from the NCAA to go along with that. And then in June of 2021, after the Alston case was decided and the opinion from the Supreme Court made it clear that the Supreme Court thought that athletes actually are acting as employees, the NCAA stepped back and said, we do not want to stand in the way between athletes and opportunities. So what was being prepared as a compliance issue with lots of rules, literally overnight from June 15th or something of 2021 to July 1, the NCAA pulled back and said, basically it cannot be pay for play, and you cannot use NIL as an inducement to convince a student athlete to come to a certain university. So all of a sudden, it was this great opportunity with endless questions And that is basically what created what people refer to as the Wild Wild West. And so we collectively, student athletes, educators, athletic departments, agents, attorneys, all of us who are navigating this space on trying to look out for the student athletes' best interests, are really looking for more guardrails around being able to help them navigate this space. We want to protect them. We have Congress taking a look at possibly stepping in. The issue there is if, in fact, athletes start getting paid by the university from revenue sharing arrangements, the way that I understand the labor laws as they stand today, they have to be considered employees. Start considering athletes as employees in the university, that comes along with a whole host of other issues. So the push from some of our lawmakers is to allow student athletes to share in the revenues generated by sports and also not be considered employees. So the space is moving all the time. It's changing every day. It's very difficult to keep track of what is name, image, and likeness, what might become revenue share. Within name, image, and likeness, there are pure deals that are directly done with brands, and then there are deals done with collectives, which are groups of boosters for universities that pool their money to engage in deals with student athletes.
Wow. So that is a ton of information. So what I want to say to our audience is stay tuned, come back, join us. There is going to be a series just on NCAA, the NIL, and how all of this impacts family law. Thank you for joining, and we look to see you soon.